At the turn of the millennium, the boxing world witnessed a phenomenon it hadn't quite seen before. He wasn't sculpted like Apollo or lightning fast like Alibot when he stepped into the ring. Gloves raised, his opponents saw the end. Eric S., better known by his larger-than-life moniker Butterbean, didn't just fight, he devoured. He was the walking embodiment of brute American force. Wrapped in star-spangled trunks and powered by pure will and perhaps a few dozen cheeseburgers. He wasn't what the world expected from a fighter. But Butterbean never cared about expectations. He cared about results, and when those fists nicknamed cholesterol cannons started flying, results came quick, hard, and often unconscious. His debut in the mid-90s was less of an introduction and more of a blunt force warning. When he stepped in against Doug Norris, the bout didn't stretch into tactical dancing or technical finesse. No, it was a collision of muscle and madness. Butterbean charged forward like a locomotive fueled by rage and raw meat. Norris never had a chance. One brutal exchange, one titanic punch, and it was lights out. As Norris crumbled to the canvas, commentators could only marvel at the blunt power unleashed in such a round form. 2 weeks later, another unfortunate soul tried his luck. Paul Springer, bigger, badder, more pumped than Norris. But muscles didn't save him either. In under 30 seconds, Butterbean once again proved that the ideal physique wasn't carved out of stone. It was forged in fast food and fury. Then came Pat Jackson, 1995, State Line, Nevada. Jackson looked ready to dismantle the man who'd become a walking thunderstorm in the ring. He came out swinging, trying to find cracks in Butterbean's imposing shell. But S had never been cracked, only cracked. Others, Jackson's aggression only fed Butterbean's appetite. In close quarters, Bean tenderized his opponent like a steak on a butcher's block. And just as things escalated, a haymaker meant for Jackson accidentally clipped the referee. Even the third man in the ring wasn't safe from the storm. Jackson called it quits. Butterbean walked away, not only undefeated but untouchable. March 1996. James Baker entered the arena like a man headed to his own execution. A brief flicker of resistance, and then obliteration. Baker joined the long list of men who had hit the mat before the popcorn had even gone cold. And Butterbean didn't stop. Fighters like Richard Davis, who dared to taunt him mid-ring, found themselves with their faces pressed against the canvas. All mouth before the bell, and all regret afterward. Then came Jonathan Whitfield the Bull. During the stare-down, Whitfield tried to intimidate with muscle and menace. But Butterbean only feared two things: empty refrigerators and running shoes. He flattened Whitfield with the ease of a man flipping a pancake. By 1997, Butterbean had turned from fighter to folklore. His knockout reels aired on late-night TV. Jay Leno welcomed him. EA Sports turned him into a video game character, right beside legends like Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather. He was a man who hadn't held championship belts, but still managed to be more iconic than most who did, and he never stopped swinging. That year, he returned to the ring to face Ed Witta, towering opponent with a skyscraper reach. It didn't matter. Butterbean stepped in and tore through the height difference with the fury of a man who refused to be underestimated. A colossal right hand ended White's night in thunderous fashion, and the fans erupted. But not every fight ended in immediate dominance. Scott Lineker was built like a mountain and carried the confidence of a man who thought he could move one. He hit Butterbean with everything he had. It wasn't enough. The Bean weathered the early storm, then dropped the hammer. Decker's legs folded, and the giant was conquered once more. Then came Billy Eaton. The fight began with a bombshell, landed a punch that sent Butterbean stumbling to the mat. For a moment, the impossible seemed to loom. But S, fired up and humiliated, unleashed a fury Eaton couldn't withstand. The bout ended in a draw, but many believed Eaton had pulled off the upset. Butterbean disagreed. A rematch was demanded and 1 year later, delivered. This time, Butterbean didn't just want victory, he wanted vengeance. The bell rang, and Bean charged. Every punch was a statement, every blow a correction to the history books. Eaton tried to survive, tried to answer back. But Butterbean overwhelmed him, dropping the mustached warrior and silencing the doubters once more. In 1999, a new name stepped into the ring, Patrick Graham, and what the world saw was something unexpected. Butterbean wasn't just swinging, he was calculating. He was fast, even graceful. His distance control, his head movement had evolved, and when the time was right, he knocked Graham straight through the ropes with a rib-shattering body shot. He winked at the commentators before delivering that final blow. A showman, a savage. Butterbean was both. That same year, Jakey Beard made the mistake of mocking the man mid. He danced, he smirked, he disrespected the knockout artist with the gold-lettered trunks, and then came the right hand. Beard went stiff, dropped like a marionette with cut strings, and the arena knew Butterbean wasn't a joke. He was the punchline, even with all the wins, the fame, and the respect of the masses. Many in the professional boxing world refused to give him his due. He was too big, too unorthodox, too fun. The sports gatekeepers couldn't accept that a man on a burger-based diet could capture hearts more than their finely tuned champions. They avoided him, except for one man, Peter McNeely, who once faced off against Mike Tyson, had felt what real pain tasted like, and now he was stepping in with Butterbean, bringing a record full of knockouts and bravado. The bell rang. Bean didn't hesitate. He attacked McNeely's chin, then went for the body like a predator, zeroing in on its prey. The fight was a demolition. Butterbean beat the former Tyson opponent so convincingly, fans began to whisper, maybe even Iron Mike would think twice. Then came the leap. In 2002, Butterbean took on a real legend, Larry Holmes. Holmes, the man who once dethroned Muhammad Ali, was now in his 50s, but still carried a deadly jab and a mountain of experience. For Butterbean, used to 4-round spectacles, this was a 10-round war. Holmes danced, jabbed, and poked through Bean's defense. It was a lesson in old-school boxing. But Butterbean wouldn't fold. He bit down, fought back, and began landing bombs of his own. The crowd roared as the underdog made it competitive. Holmes may have won on points, but Butterbean walked away with something more respect. He went 10 rounds with a former heavyweight champion, and he didn't break. After that, the world of boxing began to feel a little small. Butterbean shifted to kickboxing. June 2003, his first opponent, Yusuke Fujioto, barely lasted a minute. Then came Mike Bernardo, a fearsome beast in the ring. Butterbean took the punches to the face and chest, like the tank he was, but his legs, his strong suit, couldn't keep up. The kickboxing dream slowly faded, but Butterbean wasn't done. He entered the world of mixed martial arts. It started rough, a loss, a draw, but then came Wesley Cabbage Carrera, and the cage became a war zone. They brawled like men possessed. Cabbage landed elbows. Butterbean ate them, and then came the counterattack. Punches rained. Cabbage froze. He couldn't answer. The second round ended with Butterbean's arm raised. The beast had conquered the cage. James Thompson followed, an MMA vet who had fought titans like Mariusz Pudzianowski and Bob Sapp. He thought he could outmuscle S. He thought wrong. Butterbean, with the composure of a seasoned predator, waited for the perfect opening and then exploded. A right hand ended it all. And then, as the calendar pages turned, the years caught up. By 2013, Butterbean finally stepped out of the spotlight and hung up his gloves. His body, so often tested and battered, now bore the consequences of years of fighting and indulgence. He ballooned past 200 kilograms. The health warnings came fast and loud. In a final, personal fight, he joined the show, lose weight or die. Facing a new kind of opponent, his own past. Eric S.'s journey wasn't carved from Olympic dreams or polished gym routines. It was built from grit, instinct, and a refusal to be boxed in, figuratively or literally. He was every man's fighter, unrefined, unrelenting, unapologetic. He may not have walked away with golden belts, but he left behind something far more enduring, a legacy. The man who took down giants. The fat, fearless phenom who made even Mike Tyson's fans stop and think, would he dare? Butterbean didn't just fight. He conquered expectations, critics, and occasionally the laws of physics, and the world never forgot.